Africa is full of talent. Africa is full of ideas. Africa is full of energy. Yet, across this magnificent continent, millions of people struggle every day with unemployment, poor services, and limited opportunities. So let's be honest and say it plainly. The problem is not Africa. The problem is leadership and the systems they create. It's not our culture. It's not laziness. It's not a lack of intelligence. Systems determine outcomes, and leadership determines systems. This is the core truth we need to face. When we talk about systems, what do we really mean? It's not some abstract academic concept. Systems are the rules of the game. They dictate how decisions are made in our countries. They determine how power is distributed and who gets to wield it. They control how our vast natural resources are managed and for whose benefit. And most importantly, they define how accountability works or doesn't work. Good systems can produce positive results even when leaders are imperfect. They create guardrails. But bad systems will fail even when leaders have the best intentions. They create roadblocks. Unfortunately, many African countries are operating with systems designed for failure, systems that concentrate power in the hands of a few. Systems that reward loyalty over competence, creating a culture of mediocrity. Systems that punish innovation and new ideas because they threaten the status quo. And worst of all, systems that protect failure instead of fixing it, ensuring that the same mistakes are made over and over again. This brings us to a critical point: the battle between leadership and institutions. Strong, prosperous countries are not built by strong men, they are built by strong institutions. Institutions are the bedrock of a nation. They are the courts, the parliaments, the civil services, and the electoral commissions that outlive any single leader. They are designed to apply rules consistently and fairly to everyone, no matter how powerful. They exist to limit the abuse of power. In many African states, however, these institutions are weak, politicized, or completely captured by political interests. What does this mean in practice? It means one new leader can come in and undo years of progress with the stroke of a pen. It means national policies change with every election cycle, creating instability and uncertainty. It means our collective development depends on the whims and personalities of a few individuals, not on a clear, long-term national plan. That is not how sustainable development works. You cannot build a skyscraper on a foundation of sand. So why does leadership fail so often? It's not accidental. First, there's a massive lack of accountability. In too many places, leaders are rarely held responsible for their failures, and elections alone are not enough to ensure accountability, especially when state resources are misused to buy votes. When the opposition is weakened or silenced, and when the media is intimidated into self-censorship. When leaders know there are no consequences for failure, what is the incentive to perform? Second, there's the plague of short-term thinking. Many leaders are not focused on building a legacy for the next generation. They're focused on winning the next election and staying in power. Their decisions are often about appeasing powerful elites and securing short-term political victories, not making the long-term sacrifices required for genuine national development. And third, there's the cancer of patronage politics, when government jobs, contracts, and opportunities are handed out as rewards for political loyalty rather than on merit. The entire system begins to rot from within. The most talented and qualified people are sidelined or forced to leave the country in a brain drain. Mediocrity rises to the top and the quality of governance collapses. And who pays the ultimate price for all of this? Ordinary Africans. Bad leadership and weak systems have real, devastating consequences for millions of people. They mean children are learning in poor schools with underpaid teachers. They mean our loved ones get sick and go to underfunded hospitals with no medicine. They mean businesses cannot grow because of unreliable electricity, and our lives are put at risk on unsafe roads. And perhaps the most heartbreaking consequence is seeing an entire generation of bright, educated youth with degrees but no jobs, their potential squandered. The most painful result of all this is that Africans are forced to be individually resilient in systems that should be supporting them collectively. Our people are forced to survive in environments where they should be thriving. We celebrate individual success against all odds, when we should be building systems that make success the norm, not the exception. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Colonialism. Does history matter? Absolutely. Colonialism created extractive, exploitative systems that were designed to benefit the colonizer, not the colonized. It distorted our political and economic structures in ways we are still dealing with today. But history cannot be an excuse forever. Many other regions around the world were colonized. They faced immense challenges, but they made the difficult choice to reform their systems, to break from the past, and to build new institutions that served their people. Africa must do the same on its own terms, in its own context, and in its own way. Blaming the past without taking concrete action to fix the present only delays the future that we all deserve. So, what is the way forward? What must change? Africa does not need saviors. We don't need another strongman promising to solve all our problems. Africa needs functioning, predictable, and fair systems. We need systems that reward competence and hard work, not loyalty. We need systems that protect public resources for public good. We need systems that serve the citizens, not the politicians. True leadership is not about giving powerful speeches or cutting ribbons. It is about the difficult, unglamorous work of building robust institutions and systems that will continue to function effectively long after you are gone. If you believe that Africa's future depends on building better systems and demanding accountable leadership, then subscribe to the Great Africa Reality. Let's continue this conversation, because the biggest problem facing Africa is not its people, it is how power is organized and used. Thank you for watching.